Hey guys, this is Nia. Welcome back to another video. Today I will be showing you a quick tutorial followed by a paint along with me on how to make the Ginko Leaf pattern from my previous video. This is very simple and easy to do, so I hope you'll give it a go. First off, let me just show you the basic shape of the Ginko Leaf, which is roughly like an isosceles triangle which has two equal sides. If you're not comfortable with drawing the leaves first, you can draw the triangles facing different directions. So if you look at a ginkgo leaf, the leaf will always be rounded and looks a little bit like a fan. So you can either try to draw straight away as the fan shape if you're comfortable, or if it's hard, you can get the two equal sides by drawing the triangle. Then you can round the top from each side to make the fan shape. Try practicing this until you are comfortable with drawing the leaves facing different directions. If you find it hard, you can also move your sketchbook or paper to suit the angle that you have in mind. To make the shape look more natural, I also give a slight inward curve from the equal sides transitioning to the stem. The stem should also look a little bit bent, nothing too straight or geometric because this is an organic shape. Once you have the fan shape down, you can now use it as a guide to draw out the frills. Ginkgo leaves are quite thin and frail, so the ends is never dead straight. Sometimes it also has inward curves. These frills or curves will always be facing the center, so be mindful of this when you're drawing it out, and keep repeating the step until you are used to it. Then maybe try to draw it out without the guide. If you see on this attempt that one of the equal sides is slightly curved too much, I will show you some tricks to fix mistakes like this one that I use a lot to paint the pattern. And remember that this is an organic shape. Leaves and other nature-related things are never exactly the same, so mix up the frills and the size and even the width of your leaves. Doesn't matter if it's not perfect because it'll only make it look more natural. Remember that as you're practicing the frills, everything should be facing the center. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it should follow the direction slightly, and that the stem should always be in the middle. The next step is to draw the detailed lines inside the leaves, and this is where we define the fan shape. To make the lines, you can either repeat drawing it out from the left to right, or if you're not too comfortable with this, or you've practiced and it seems that the center is a little bit off, you can use a trick, which is to draw the middle first, which is the straight line, and then divide the rest of the area into halves and keep dividing it until you are comfortable with drawing the lines in the area. This would help you even out the lines too. Once you understand how to draw out the ginkgo leaves, also try to practice different angles, including the lines. You should try to practice until you are comfortable drawing it out straight away, because it'll make it much easier when you're using the paintbrush and watercolors, because it seems to travel much faster with less control compared to if you are using a fine liner or a pencil to draw it out. So I have mentioned before that there is a trick to getting equal sides if you draw out the leaf a little bit uneven, and this is how you can fix it with ease. Basically, because we have the line details, no one can see if you add on more on either side of your leaf. So if something is a little bit uneven or even a little bit more narrow than you'd like the leaf to be, you just add onto a side that is slightly shorter or on both sides, and then you can hide it behind the line details. For this painting, I used my Winsor designer gouache. The brush that I use is a size 2 sekaido brush. This has longer length, so it's easier for me to control, but you can also use any other small fine detail brush. My usual size 2 reeves synthetic brush would also be fine for this. The color that I will be using is the ultramarine blue, and for the gray I just mixed black and white. You can adjust how light or dark you want the grays to be by playing with the ratio of the black and white color. For the accent, I also use my Finetech gold palette. You can pick any of the gold color you want. If you're unsure whether you're comfortable enough with painting straight away, you can also draw out the guide very lightly with pencil first and then paint the rest of the detail with your paintbrush. I personally did this for my fan because I needed the help since there was a lot of distractions when I was trying to even out the surface. But if you're comfortable with drawing straight away with your paintbrush, you can skip this step. You can also use watercolor for this, but I'm just going to do the exact same thing as my fan. If you use watercolor, make sure your paint isn't so runny so you can still control the brush without your paint flowing too fast on the paper. I'm just going to quickly show you how I did the little trick where I even out the width of the leaf. If you've made a mistake, you can easily do it with your brush too. For the composition, I would suggest for you to paint the leaves first before painting any of the stem, because the stem will get in the way of your composition. If you've already painted the stem, then when you paint the leaves on top, it'll look like the leaf is translucent because the lines of the leaf will be on top of the stem instead of the bottom. It'll also help you map out the placement of the leaves easier, and at the end you can decide which direction you want to paint the stem according to the composition that you're finished with. Sometimes the stem can also get in the way if you paint it first and you want to place a leaf next to it. Since you feel like a certain place is too empty, sometimes the end of the stem is just slightly longer than you plan it to be, and you'll end up with something like this, and it doesn't look planned and is a little bit distracting to the whole composition. I usually start with the ultramarines first, but you can also mix blue and the gray with the gold straight away. I did that for the fan because I had the leaves mapped out already, but personally if I'm painting freehand, I would like to paint with the main color first, then add the secondary and the accent color last. For my fan, I did a wash in some of the line works of the ginkgo leaf. To do this, you can either draw out the lines first, then use a damp brush with clean water and activate the paint slightly on paper, and you'll end up taking some of the pigments with your brush and you can spread it on the leaf area. Another way you can do this is by doing a light wash before drawing out the lines. This will give more defined lines. On my fan, I used the first method, but you can use either one or even skip this step. Personally, I also like line work by itself, so this is just out of preference. For the paint along part of this video, I will be skipping this part. If you're doing the second method, make sure the first layer of your wash is dry enough so you could paint it on top. If it's slightly damp, you will see your paint spreading out and bleeding, so you might want to do a bunch of washes all at once to save drying time and draw out the line work afterwards. Once you're comfortable with all the steps, you can paint your own pattern or paint along to the second part of this video. This is 2 times the speed because the video was getting a little bit too long. So if you would like to paint along in real time, you can slow down the video a bit. But I did this really slowly, so I'm pretty sure you're all going to be able to follow this. So I'll leave you guys to it and I'll see you towards the end of this video. So we're nearing the end of this video. I hope it was enjoyable to watch, and hopefully you learned something new in the process. If you enjoyed it and decide to give this a go, you can show me by tagging me on my Instagram at ig_nyanyani, where you can also see more of my artwork because I don't always film everything I paint. You can also follow me on Skillshare if you'd like to see more tutorials and watercolor classes by me. I will leave all the links at the description box where you can find them. Thank you for watching, and I will see you at the next one. Bye!